everyone, welcome back to my channel. So I know it's been a while and I've had these nails for 3 weeks going on 4, and I just haven't had time to redo them. So this is the set that I did whenever I was in, what was it, Louisville, Kentucky, and I did them on the hotel, or yeah, on the floor I think. So I didn't get to record, but I just did a whole bunch of bling, and then they were longer, but I cut them down when I got back, and then they had the chrome powder on the tips. So I'm gonna go ahead and start off by removing the bling, and for that I'm using just a pair of nippers. So for this set I did not use a drill, so I do have a little bit of lifting on a few, so you will see that. Okay, so I took all the bling off, so I'm gonna go in with my coarse drill bit to remove the rest of that gel polish and that gel. So I am using my dust collector, which honestly I feel like it does collect some of the dust, but then there's still dust everywhere. So the only reason why I do keep it, or why I'm going to keep it, is because, like I said, it does keep it out of my face, and that's really like my main concern. I don't want dust going into my nose. I don't want to be breathing it in. So that's why I'm keeping it, but it still blows it all over the place. So even after I'm done, I'm still having to wipe all the dust off. So it's not too good, but like I said, it does keep it out of my face. Okay, so whenever I'm doing this, as you can see, I hold my nail drill like this, and then when I'm doing it, I put my pinky on my finger. That way I get some stability. If you just go in and file like this, it's really easy to lose control and you can cut somebody. So you want to be able to hold their finger. That way the drill's not going nowhere and your finger's not going nowhere. So like I said, I hold it like this, hold my finger out like this, and then with my pinky hold whatever finger I'm doing it. And you will be able, like, you'll see me doing that even with my clients. I always hold my drill like this. So that's another big thing. It's not even just how you file the nail, it's how you're holding your drill, how much stability you're actually getting when you're doing it. Because if you just have somebody's hand like that and you're trying to file like this, you are eventually going to cut them, or you're not even filing correctly. And as you can see, I'm filing around the cuticle area to file it down and make sure that if we have any lifting, that I'm getting that off. And then the rest of the nail I'm filing with the belly, which is the middle of the drill bit, and I'm just doing that to remove the gel polish. Okay, so as you can see, I filed all of the gel polish off, and I did have a little bit of lifting on some of them. Like, you'll be able to tell when it's a little bit white, like right there. It's kind of like an off-whitish color, and you can tell it's lifting. So instead of using a pair of nippers, a lot of people want to go in there and nip it off. But when you're doing that, you're lifting up some of the other like nail that's not even lifted. So what you want to do is you want to go in with your drill and just file that off. Because like I said, with the nippers, you're just going to make it lift even more. See, I just got that piece off. And then if it's lifting like all the way down here, then you're better off just taking the whole nail off and redoing it. So I'm going to do the other hand, and I'm doing it the same way. Except for this hand, I don't really use my pinky because it's kind of a weird position, so just kind of find whatever works for you. But I am right-handed, so right now I'm doing my right hand with my left hand, so it is a little bit harder, but you get used to it. Same thing, I go around the cuticle area first, and I am using my drill at a, what is it, like on forward. I know some people ask me if I use my drill on reverse when I'm doing my opposite hand, and I don't. I'm using it on forward. So as y'all can see, this one had a little bit of lifting, so I filed all that off. So that's what it should look like after you file that part off. And be careful not to keep your drill in one spot for too long, because it will eventually start burning and it hurts really bad. And as you can see, for this one, instead of holding my the nail or the finger with my pinky, I hold it with my thumb. So I do this. That way these fingers have some stability. So as you can see, you'll see me just doing different little tricks, and sometimes I don't even think about it. Like, I wasn't thinking about me holding my finger with my thumb. So you will find things that just work for you. It might not be what works for somebody else, but like I said, always just go with what works for you. We all have different techniques that we use. Okay, so we filed all of them down. So now I'm gonna go in and push my cuticles back before I can remove the shine from my natural nail. So I'm just using this Tammy Taylor peel and stick cuticle pusher, and these are removable. Once you use one, you throw it away and switch it for another one. And this, I think it was given to me like whenever I was doing the nail competitions. I was getting a lot of Tammy Taylor products, so this is where it came from, but I'm sure they have it on their website. So I'm just pushing those cuticles back. So now I'm taking off this drill bit. And now I'm gonna use the sanding band. So as you guys know, I always keep the old one on there, and then I put my drill bit in there and take it off and then add a new one. So somebody emailed me earlier saying that they were having problems taking off the sanding band. So if you are having problems, a lot of the time it's either because your little drill bit is too big, because I did have an issue with one of mine before. So what you can do is just get like some nippers and just rip it off like this. Or if it just fits perfectly, then you can easily just take it on and off. But some are a little bit harder, like this one's a little bit harder to take off, so you could always just rip it off, sorry. But like I said, I took that one off, and then I'm gonna add a new one. And then I always use this one at a slower speed, and this is to remove the shine from my natural nail. So as you guys know, we're just doing it to where we're removing that shine. We don't want to file too hard because we don't want to damage our natural nails. And you want to make sure that you do this really good, because if not, you will get lifting. So make sure you get really close to that cuticle area. And the reason why we have to do this is because our body produces oils, and that shiny layer is basically like a layer of oil. And if we leave it on there, it's kind of like water and oil, you know, they don't go together. So that acrylic is just going to come right off, and that's what's going to cause it to lift. So we have to go in, remove the shiny layer. Okay, so I got all the shine off, so now I'm just going to dust them off. And you do want to make sure that you dust them off before you apply your primer, because you don't want none of that dust on the nail. So as you can see, there's still dust everywhere, so I always have to go back and clean up all that dust before I start applying the acrylic, because I don't want that dust getting in my acrylic. Okay, so I'm going in with my Opi Primer, and I'm just going to apply that on the natural nail. You want to make sure that you don't get it on the skin, because if you have any little cuts, it will burn really, really bad. So I'm just applying that on the natural nail. And for my acrylic, I am using my Mia Secret acrylic system, and I'll show you what it looks like. Because a lot of people ask me what color do I get. I use the pink acrylic powder by Mia Secret, and I get the big bottle, which is a 1.5 pound bottle, and I get it from eBay. And then I also use the Mia Secret monomer, and then this one is 32 fluid ounces. So I get both of them on eBay, and I'll leave the link in the description. And then for my brush, I use my number 9 oval Kolinsky brush, and it is an alpha brush, and I'll leave that link in the description as well with the promo code. So as you guys know, I dip my brush into the liquid and clean it off, and then I'm gonna dip it in, and before I dip it back into the powder, I'm gonna wipe it off. And I do have a video on powder liquid ratio, so I'll leave that in the description if you guys need to check it out. So after I cleaned it off, I'm gonna dip it into the powder, get a small bead, and as you guys know, I like to just work with the product that I needed. So I'm gonna place it down, and I pat it into place, and then I just stroke it down towards the tip. I'm not brushing too hard, I'm just gently brushing it down so it can blend into the tip. And always wipe your brush off as you're working. You don't want any of the acrylics getting stuck to your brush because it would be a hot freaking mess. So I'm looking at my nail and I see that it's a little indentation right here. So I'm going to go back and add a little bead. So remember to just add as you need it. Look at your nail from different angles. If you need to add a little more, then that's fine. I'm going to add a little bit more to the stress area. Same thing, brushing it down towards the tip. And then always clean around that cuticle area really good. You don't want to get any product on the skin because that will cause the nail to lift. So go back and clean around. Okay, so as you can see, we don't just have a flat nail. This is how I like my nails. You see how it has that stress area where it's a little bit thicker and then it gets thinner. Same thing, get another bead, place it closer to that cuticle area, pat it into place, and then brush it down towards the tip. And like I said, don't brush too hard. We're literally just like feathering it down towards that tip because we want this area to be thicker, but we just want to make sure that we don't just have one big ball right in the middle of the nail. So we have to blend it down. So I have a little gap right there, so I'm going to go back and add a little bitty bead. Let me see, I'm going to add another one on this side. I'll turn it like this. And then it's on the skin as you can see, so I'm going to go back with the tip of my brush and wipe it off. And as you can see, I'm steady cleaning my brush off. You want to make sure that you clean your brush off before you dip it into the liquid. Always wipe it off really good. As you can see, I'm not working with a lot of product, and then I always wipe my brush off before I dip it into the liquid. That way it's not just soaking wet and then the product's not really liquidy. And honestly, I don't even know how I'm gonna do my nails. Still don't know. So as you can see, we have that stress area where it's not just a flat nail. You want to make sure that you don't just have a really flat nail because this is your stress area. If I was to break my nail, this is where it gets its strength. So if it's just really thin and flat, it's going to break off really easily.
As you can see, I just got all the product on my skin, so you want to wipe that off as soon as you can. Just wipe it off immediately. Stop what you're doing and wipe it off because as soon as it dries, it's going to be nearly impossible to take it off, and it will cause your nail to lift.
Okay, so this hand is done. So now we're gonna do the other one. So same thing. I know a lot of people always ask me how can I do my right hand with my left hand. So I do it the same way. As you can see, I just picked up the first bead with my right hand, but then I switched it over to my left hand. So I do the same thing. I just place the bead down, push it around, and then just stroke it down towards the tip. It's the same process. Like I said, you just kind of have to find what works for you, and then just practice. I wasn't able to just do this overnight. Like, I literally used to do my nails all the time. Whenever I first started doing nails, I always did mine. So it was to the point where I could literally do my nails better than I can do somebody else. Like, that's how much I used to practice. So remember that it takes a lot of practice, patience, and what was the other one? Patience, time, patience, and practice. There we go. Okay, so I'm done with all the nails. So now I'm going to go back and shape them and file them. So I'm putting up my acrylic and then turn this back on. And I think I do want them a little bit more narrow instead of them being so square. So always start from the side of the nail, from like right here. And a lot of the time, like, the nail will be stuck to the skin, or the acrylic will be stuck to the skin. So that's why you want to place that file right there so you can get it to basically file that acrylic off. Same thing, start from that side of the nail and file in towards the tip of the nail. So I'm following them a little bit more like into a coffin shape, like a squared coffin type of shape. So as you can see, I'm filing at an angle instead of filing straight out. I'm filing inward. That way we get that coffin shape. And then the tip, I'm filing at a 90 degrees angle. If you file like this, you will take away the little ends, and it will make the nail a little bit more rounded. So make sure that you hold the nail file against the nail at a 90 degrees angle, and make sure that you keep it that way, because like I said, if not, you're going to make the nail a little bit more rounded. Same thing, hold your start from right there, file towards the tip, and then file at an angle if you want it to be coffin. And then filing the tip at a 90 degrees angle. So you can tell the difference. This one's a little bit more squared, and then that one's a little bit more narrow. Okay, so that is one hand. So now I'm gonna do the same thing to the other one. And as you guys know, when I'm doing my right hand with my left hand, instead of moving the file back and forth, I just move my thumb or my fingers back and forth. So I hold my file like this, and then move my finger back and forth. Okay, so now that they're all shaped up, now I'm gonna go in with my fine drill bit. So with this one, I'm following the acrylic. As you can see, all of it is nice and smooth. I don't have any bumps or lumps or anything. So what we're gonna do is we're still gonna file the whole nail like I always do, but I always like to focus around that cuticle area because that's where your lifting comes from. So as you guys know, I start from one side of the nail to the other, and I just file back and forth until I'm able to see where the natural nail is, where the cuticle, and where the acrylics start. And then with the belly of the drill bit, I just file the rest of the nail as well. And just look at your nail from different angles. You might look at it from right here or from right there, and you like sometimes you can't see the bumps or lumps, so make sure you look at it from different angles so you can make sure that you have a nice and smooth nail. Okay, so now I'm able to see where the cuticle area is, where the natural nail starts, which is right there, and then where the acrylic is. That way we don't have any acrylic on the skin at all. So same thing, we start from one side of the cuticle area to the other, and we just go back and forth. And once again, this is a fine drill bit, and I'll leave the link in the description to this. Okay, then also if you don't have a nail drill, you could always just use the same nail file that you use to shape the nails. And then what you want to do, you do the same thing. You start from one side of the cuticle area to the other, but as like I said before, it is a little bit harder to get really close to that cuticle area, but it's the same thing. You just start from one side, make your way around to the other side, and like I said, our nail is pretty nice and smooth, so you can just, you know, just make sure that it's nice and even. And then with the cuticle area, you kind of just approach it really slow, that way you don't cut your client, but just file back and forth from one side to the other, and just keep doing that until it's nice and smooth and even. So as you can see, doing this with the nail file does leave a little bit more scratches than using the drill, so you will have to file a little bit more when you're filing with a hand file. But like I said, same thing, just file around that cuticle area and then file the rest of the nail to make sure that it's nice and even. But like I said, for me it is a little bit harder to not use an e-file because I'm scared to cut myself or just anybody else. So I rather just use the e-file, and then also, you know, it helps with the speed. So I really just recommend to go ahead and get an e-file just so you can go ahead and learn with it. Okay, so this hand is done. So now I'm gonna go to the other hand, and same thing. We follow around that cuticle area, and then we're also gonna follow the rest of the nail. Okay, so I followed all of them, and yes, I did cut myself. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go in with a buffer, and I'm just gonna buff all of them. And remember, this is to just get a really nice surface to get rid of any of the scratches left from our e-file or our hand file. Okay, so they are all nice and smooth. So now I'm gonna apply some cuticle oil, and then I'm gonna go wash my hands off. So I will be right back. Okay, so I'm still trying to figure out what I want to do. I really feel like I don't want to do too much because they're really short. And then I'm going to be taking this set off pretty soon because I have something big coming up soon. So I'm thinking either like a really light pink or maybe glitter. Or gold. Okay, so after thinking long and hard, I decided to just go with this like really pretty light pink by Elite 99. and the number actually erased. It looks like a 6957, but it's like a really pretty glittery sheared pink. So I'm just gonna do that because, like I said, I'm not gonna keep this set on for much longer, but I just didn't want to keep walking around looking a mess. So I'm gonna go ahead and just do this color. It's gonna be really hard for me to not do any bling, but I just am over this short set. But like in 2 weeks I'm gonna do really long and ghetto, so I gotta hold off on it. Okay, so like I said, it has that little shimmer, so I'm gonna go ahead and put that one under the light for 30 seconds. And I am using my Melody Susie UV LED light that I did a review on not too long ago. It's been working perfectly. I haven't had any issues at all. As you can see, like, it's already polished all over it, so it's been working really good. Okay, so now I'm gonna go back and do a second coat, just so it can be a little bit more shimmery. Okay, so now I'm gonna go in with my Ibd Jo Top Coat, and this is the one that I always use. So this is gonna be so depressing, so I'm just gonna leave them plain. Like I said, I don't want to do too much because I'm not keeping these on for too long, so we are just gonna be basic to the fullest. Okay, so they are completely dry, so they're so simple. So now I'm gonna do the same thing on this hand. We're doing the 2 coats of the pink and then a top coat. Okay, so now I'm going in with my top coat and I'm curing it for 60 seconds again. Alrighty, y'all, so this is the final look. They are just so plain and simple. Like I said, I did a really light shimmery pink. This set will not stay on for very long, that's why I did that. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on Facebook and Instagram at GetNailed32, and I'll see you guys next time.